Good day. Or as the Germans would say, Gurren Lagann. Have you ever wondered? Have you ever had like an anime girlfriend and been like, oh man, this is great, but like deep down inside you can't help but wonder what the Lord would say about your relationship? Of course you haven't. But we're going to answer that question of what he thinks today. Nope, I thought I had to burp. I don't have to burp. Now, I'm going to be real. I apologize for the whiteness on my face. My computer and camera is just all over the place. But you might also notice some other changes. Like a change in the room. Get it? Because the light... Anyway, I have cut hair now. Yay, it's all shaggy and short and not long. Yeah, so that's a new change. Also, I moved, not going to Japan. Another change. Since last time I've spoken to y'all, we have 13 new people. Yeah, boy! Like, I'm excited. I just don't know how to express my excitement. Yeah, this is really cool. So welcome aboard the bus, little dudes. I don't know where we're going, but we'll find that out at some unspecified time down the road. Now, lately I've been seeing some concerning use of this verse in the Bible. So we're gonna go over it using the most logical way I could think up of things. Using 2D drawings to explain the Bible. And yes, I said 2D drawings because there's no gender here, baby. Because I want to go over this absolute unit of a man. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. Oh yeah. But to keep things spicy, I came up with the absolute maddest of lad lists, alright? One separate for both men and women. Because honestly, if I do the same list each and every time, I'm going to get insanely bored. Also, provides me with an excuse to talk more about the Bible. Because screw you. But today we are going to jump into the lovely ladies and go over their little part. Sorry, I gotta... Today we're going to go over the lovely ladies with number 1, does she speak with truth? Proverbs 31, 10 through 12. Number 2, does she speak and act with love, grace, and wisdom? Proverbs 31, 20, and 26. And number 3, is she a hard worker? Which comes from Proverbs 31, 13 through 19. And as an honorable mention at the end, are they attractive? Proverbs 31 through 30. This section is solely opinion based, and this is by far just for fun and not the most important section at all, with the Bible even warning in the specific verse going after someone specifically because they are attractive. This section only exists because I just like outing myself on the internet, I guess. And then finally, for both men and women, there will be a scoring system so we can keep track of said character with each segment being ranked on a 1 to 10 basis for a max possible score before honorable mention of 30 and a final score possible of 35, with honorable mention being worth 5 points. And in the end, you need to score at least a 25 to be considered a winner. And please remember, guys, this is just for fun. Don't use a scoring system on a real life person. That's just like douchey and not cool. So don't do this. With all the rules out of the way, let's get into the first episode of Are They a Marriage Material? I don't know what I'm doing. Why are you so awkward?
Trust me.
Now, we're going to be playing the video game from the Nintendo 64 today, the Evangelion game. I have no idea what this is. I just found it on the internet. I think, yeah, so anyway, we're going to be playing that game today. So please don't mind the fact that I'm not going to be looking at the screen. Or I'm not going to be looking at the camera. But, so, let's see. I've watched Evangelion. How do we start this? I've watched Evangelion once before, which was already one too many times. Even on my second walkthrough of this show, I was still caught off guard by the blindsiding tempo shift of episode 24 through 26.
Congratulations!
So we're just not going to talk about it. Instead, we're going to look at Misato in episodes 1 through 23, disregarding the movies, one, because she becomes a completely different character, and two, because when she's when she's the same character in Evangelion, we just deal with this.
That's how grown-ups kiss. We'll do the rest when you get back, all right?
Which more just highlights the problematic nature of the show and how trash it is. But we're going to disregard that side of her because of how controversial the ending is, and just because of that whole movie just felt like unnecessarily over-sexualized. Yeah, so back to when the show was good. The question of whether Misato speaks in truth is basically a resounding, undeniable yes. Personally, I think that's one of the reasons why so many people like her, though, is because she speaks. She's one of the only people that speaks in truth in that entire show. I mean, in the end, it's not my fault, after all, that every weeb struggles with English when I ask them, like, why do you like Misato? And they get the words trustworthy and mommy confused. It's not my fault, okay? But my point is only further amplified by her, at times, unnecessarily loud tone. Like, yeah, it's quirky. For a fictional character, have you? Because pause the game. Have you ever once met someone who's unnecessarily loud in real life? It's not quirky. It's annoying. I would know. I see that person every day in the mirror. Okay, it's not fun. But why I think Misato comes off as quirky, even though besides some of the more obvious reasons. Is because it's not like she's wrong when she's loud and just, rude and being dumb. It's not like she's wrong. She's incredibly smart, and she's spitting facts that are usually helpful. What is going on? What is... Okay, anyway, sorry. Where was I? Oh yeah, the only reason she comes off quirky, besides some more obvious reasons, is because she's not wrong, I gotta say. But she's incredibly smart, and she's spitting facts that are usually helpful somehow. Thus, her delivery method kind of just flies out the window as unimportant, kind of like the first 23 episodes of this show. My point being, her ability to also be mature and calm about situations gives her a weird ability to also act a bit outlandish at times. A good contrast character for this would be Yuno Gasai. And now, if you don't know who Yuno Gasai is, she's absolutely insane. She's the main heroine antagonist person thingy from Future Diaries, which, if you haven't watched, is an absolute killer of a show from when almost every anime was a banger. But basically, she's a teenager with colored hair and trauma, because what else is new? Throughout the entire show, she's kind of like Misato. There's just moments when she acts cool, calm, and collected, seemingly sane, and then there's other moments where you're just like, what? 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 どうして? What? That being said, in the end, the only reason I felt like telling Yuno to shut up the entire show, even though her situations would definitely elicit that amount of yelling and craziness, is because she's naive and insane and basically just super unstable. and manipulative, and she never speaks truth unless it's to her benefit whatsoever. So but if you compare that and contrast that to Masato, who only ever withheld the truth for a specific period of time because she's human and couldn't figure out how to say it in a loving manner at the time, and it's like, at the end it's like, I can see why she's mommy. I'm sorry, I mean trustworthy. You can so tell, plan that joke out ahead of time.
Pleasant place. Everything's nice here. What I'm gonna do here is just tap the bass. Just tap. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It'll certainly teach you how to use all the equipment and have a lot of fun. From all of us, happy painting. God bless.
Now, there was a select point in history when we were blessed with a select few different breeds of men, right? The likes of Steve Irwin and Steve Rogers. I don't think that Steve Rogers is Captain America. Who's Mr. Rogers? I don't know what his name is. First, it's Mr. Rogers, okay? Steve Irwin and, of course, Bob Ross. And while all these men are fantastic and wholesome in their own way, the reason we will be highlighting Mr. Ross today is because while, Mr. Irwin, acted like a child and Mr. Rogers talked to children, Mr. Ross, I keep getting this. You know what I mean? Mr. Ross is the only one who, regularly would talk with messed up adults and was like,
"Oh, you messed up? That's okay, baby. Why don't you just turn that funny little tree into a funky little stream?"
So basically my point is, what we want to know is, if we're painting, if we're trying to paint a tree and we mess up, is Masato gonna be like, "Oh, it's okay, baby," or is she gonna be like, which is basically how she acts in the new reworks of the new reworks of the movies, which is another reason we're not talking on it, because it's completely separate, and including them would be like trying to compare a sussy Minecraft YouTuber to your average COD player. Think about that joke for a second. That was such a bad week. How do I can't. That's just blinking. That's stupid. No. That being said, baseline, unadulterated, at least in the sense of original character development, original version of Masato, while she sucks at laying her words down with grace, which is a point of character development, we see by the end of episode 18, where she struggles to know how to break the news about the pilot of Eva 3 to Shinji, saying this specimen, this absolutely built different specimen, does not act in love, at least a little, is virtually impossible. It's impossible. Okay?
In my humble opinion.
Now, as further proof, Jesus says there is no greater love to lay down one's life for a friend. Bible verse here. And what is our literal intro to Misato as a character? Her laying her life down to save Shinji. Not only that, but she does again later in episode 7, where instead of running away, she risks her life to save a group of people who were ridiculing and slandering her. Just thought I'd point that out. But wait, there's more. We see Misato stand up and talk back to her superiors on multiple occasions when she's trying to do the right thing, like in episode 1, when she tries to, save Shinji from being forced into the cockpit of the Eva. Saying it's a terrible idea, or in episode 3 where she tells Shinji to let Suzuhara and Adida into the cockpit, even though that's like a big no-no zone. Just just to save the boy's life. So is she lacking in the grace department? Yeah, a little, but I mean, she's only human, and she's definitely far more loving than literally about every other character of this show, and not just in her words, but in actions as well. So like I said before, the perfect mommy.
19! Big son! Yeah! 20, you got some more in you! 21! Yeah, get it again! Come on, we want to see it!
The final evaluation of the day, which often gets overlooked in my opinion, And is the question of, is she a hard worker? Does she waste her time that God's given her, cut corners, etc., etc., etc.? A quality I very much like. And now, maybe that's because I'm hyper-competitive, or maybe it's because I'm extremely biblical and just better than every other person on the face of the earth. You know, like a reborn Moses, or maybe I'm just an idiot, I don't know. Either way, the main point here isn't so much like a business work sense, but in the work of her hands in general. Like, if she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, cool, but is she giving her all? Or she wants to be a corporate CEO, awesome. Is she doing her best at, like, what she's doing and doing it wisely? A common thread among the Bible is the intent of heart behind the action, alongside the actual action itself. So when we look at Misato and ask the question of, is she a hard worker? The answer would have to be a resounding yes. A resounding yes, sir. I mean, look at this woman. She's literally known for her work. It's one of her character's founding personality traits. To say she's not hardworking would be a lie and a crime. Not only does she travel endlessly for her job, but she also puts her life on the line on multiple occasions trying to do her job. The woman gets heavily injured, and then boom! Plot armor. She's back at work. I mean, heck, if you don't want to look at her actions themselves, fine, no worries. Let's look at her emotional state. What are two things most CEO types have in common? I'm waiting. Exactly. Childhood trauma and a substance abuse problem. You are so good at this. I am so proud of you. You're great at questions. If no one's ever done it. Now, what do we see with Misato? Great question. We see unresolved daddy issues that leads to her work at Nerve, and that you can see come out through the whole show, specifically with Kaji. And within the first episode, when she's trying to slam beers, that's when you see the substance abuse. It's most people's favorite scene. Coincidence? I think not. Her alcoholism shows her successful attitude and her mindset, her successful mindset. I am not reaching with that statement at all. So, not to beat a dead horse, but what do mothers and Misato have in common?
Is that a gram? New card. What do you think?
Whoa, very nice. Look at that.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing. Look at this.
That is really nice.
What do you think?
Nice.
Now, for the part you were all waiting for, okay, where I out myself like a fool by describing my delusional attraction to a group of neatly assembled lines on paper. The moment when even my certified otaku friends give me a side eye and they say, "Shut up, you absolute wanker." But I will not apologize. Do you think people feel guilty when they look at the statue of David and they're like, No, but because Misato is a 2D image instead of a 3D piece of rock, she's held to a different standard? Disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourselves. How dare you judge a lady? How dare you? Well, look, I'll admit, she's 5'4", okay, so not necessarily within my tax bracket, so to speak, but she's a little short, but she has a stellar personality, and if beauty is fading and we should look on the inside, then my messy jumble of drawings is looking pretty well put together, especially since she's built different. I mean, how many people do you know with naturally purple hair? Yeah, not many. She's built different, guy. And honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know why I'm drawing this section on. I don't need to draw this section on, alright? I'll leave it by saying if Misato were a modern day character, then maybe we wouldn't have to be stuck with this trash that is Makima. But that's just a theory. A mommy theory. So, in the end, Misato reached a total score of 33 out of 35, where a final possible percentage of 94%. But that is a score that would surely make any strict mother proud. Notice how I said strict, not orthodox. You're going to need a nun costume if you want that extra percentage points. You know what I'm saying? You know what that means, boys? You know what that means? She's marriage material. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Let's go. She's marriage material. Get that wedding dress out. Get that tux picked out. Get those rings picked out. And I know what you're saying. Oh, but James. I'm 20. I'm 20, and she's almost 30 years old. There's no way she would be into a young guy like me. My boy, she loves younger men. You're in, boy. I hate this show so much.
I give a second chance to Cupid.
So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for sticking with my rant, little dudes. I will see you in the next episode. Who knows where it will be or what it will be. Not even I know, but hopefully I'll be able to upload more regularly now that my life has somewhat seemed to stabilize. But yeah, until next time, no douche. Bye!